What are you good at? What do you like doing? What makes money? And then what does the world need? Take those four things, take some time, write those things down. The intersection of all those things that's how you find your purpose, right?
Welcome to the good life.
What's up,
That's
everybody? Welcome
It's
back.
the digital age.
This
and
guy.
we're dancing to. Come on, man.
This
You're
guy.
not the only one. You're not the only one with jingles, bro.
Listen, I got jingles for days, just letting you know. Jingles for days. Anyways, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast, where we talk all things health and wealth. I'm one of your hosts, C. Muzan. I got Coach Kabi in the building. Say what's up, Coach.
What up,
That went well. Listen, the tonality did a great job on that one. The mic picked up nothing.
Yeah, let's go. Guys, I had to change up the intro. So instead of going high, I had to go ahead and bring him down to the Barry White low. You know, didn't quite hit the Barry today. I'll get you on another day, but there it is. So my mic doesn't glitch out. So you can hear the whole intro.
I hate to burst your bubble, but the it went silent again.
Oh, bro.
The first part was good. Your tonality was good. We picked it all up. As soon as you brought out the button, that was a no-go, my guy. That was a no-go.
All right. Well,
we're going to get to it.
We'll get better. We'll get better day by day.
Absolutely, we will. Absolutely, we will. Day by day. How's your day been? How's your week been? Man, it's a brand new month. It's October. I know you got some real good stuff happening. So how's your week been, man?
Week has been great. As you guys know, doing the end of the year challenge, we're beating the New Year's push. So that's been going really well. And guys, people are still strolling in. They're still rolling in. It's not how fast you start, but it's that you start and you keep going. So there's still time. Go ahead and message me, CTN90, in the group in my on my Instagram, and we'll go ahead and get you in, guys. Lock this in, because prices are about to change. Let me just drop this. Lock this one in, because prices are about to change.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's right. How you been, brother? What's going on with your week?
Things have been well. We've had the last 3 days out here have been extremely nice weather. It seems like that last push for nice weather before we fully head into fall and winter, like the wintry season. So I got a chance to get out, get some steps in today, play a little bit of golf today, got my body moving. Just spent the time outside, man. You gotta cherish the sunlight while you got it out here on the East Coast, because when that winter comes, man, it's tough to get out there. So
brutal.
It's tough.
Brutal.
It's tough, man. So today has been awesome. Past few days have been awesome. So now, from what I saw in the weather, the next few days are not going to be great at all. But hey, we got it in today. We're making it happen. So, what's up? What's happening in Detroit?
Everything is happening in Detroit. Everything is happening in Detroit. Ladies and gentlemen, Detroit is on its way. Detroit Lions are on their way to prove me correct in my Super Bowl pick. Notching another W in their belt. And looking good, man. Looking real good. It's not too late to jump on the bandwagon.
Nobody wants to jump on the Detroit Lions. Listen, first off, nobody wants to jump on the Detroit Lions bandwagon. If there's any bandwagon to jump on, it would be the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, we notched another win.
Bold pick.
Another win under our belt, and we're defending, right, Super Bowl contenders from last year. So if there's any bandwagon to jump on in the NFL,
wowsy, wow. Listen, nobody cares about the Eagles. Okay. Why? Because everybody knew they were going to be good. That boy,
Okay.
Jalen, the man, the leader that he is, the savant, the leader of men, Jalen. Of course, with a name like Jalen, he was going to go in and go ahead and crush.
Like I said,
So,
you could easily jump on the bandwagon since everyone knew we'd be so good. Might as well jump on the bandwagon of teams that are good instead of taking these underdogs of the Detroit Lions. But either way, Detroit's a stand-up city. They got some stand-up players. I don't believe that they'll make it to the Super Bowl, but all that being said, Detroit's still a wonderful city. Shout out to Uncle Jalen. Shout out to Uncle Jalen.
I feel sorry for your loss, as Uncle Kendrick Perkins would say.
Either way, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you for checking out another episode. We appreciate everybody that continues to engage with us. If you want more, you can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of your favorite streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you join our Facebook group, the Health and Wealth for Busy Professionals, we go live in there every single week. The episodes go live in there, and in there you can chat with us. And we're hosting workshops and all types of good stuff in there. So join the community. It's a community for self-improvement. Join us and make sure that you are getting fed your health and wealth information and knowledge that you need. Quick word from our sponsor today. Hey, are you ready to level up your style? It's a question. The Good Life Visual Audio Podcast Store just dropped its first piece of merch with our exclusive Follow the Money t-shirt. Show them, show them. There it is. There it is, that Follow the Money t-shirt. It's not just clothing. It's a statement of your commitment to mastering your health and wealth. So be a part of the movement and get yours today. Just visit the Good Life Visual Audio Podcast Store using the link in our description. And remember to always follow the money. That's right. Time for shop talk. A little shop talk action.
It's shop talk.
Yes, that is the jingle.
Yeah,
That is the jingle. That's the
I could
one.
do better. I could do better. I could do better. I could do better.
Well, that's okay. That was amazing. Anyway, let's talk Taylor Swift. Let's talk Taylor Swift because she and her main man, Mr. Kelsey over there, are they're doing some major things for business in the NFL. There was an article that came out that said Taylor Swift, because the Chiefs just played the Jets. Taylor Swift caused a spike in ticket prices for that Jets Chiefs game because the Swifties came out and they wanted to support. They wanted to see her girl, even though she was just sitting up in the box and hanging out. They wanted to make sure that they got there. So prices skyrocketed. I knew this would happen. But what are your thoughts around this, man?
You know, I just wish they would come out and call this what it really is, which is a huge money grab for everybody involved. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all right. Y'all can come out and say it because guess what? I would get the money too if I could. All right. I would get money too if I could. Apparently, according to some newspaper, we're not quite sure what they are. So, you know, call for credit if you would like. But the numbers are insane. The numbers are absolutely bonkers, and it just is what it is. It just is what it is. Taylor Swift has helped the NFL boost ratings, not just for the NFL as a league, but for the Chiefs games. Their ticket prices are out the roof. Travis Kelce gained about almost 800,000 new followers since this has started. I'm assuming they are, you know, indicative of what's happened. But we don't know. Maybe he was doing running some ads or something. We don't know. You know, it's possible. It's possible.
Possible.
I just think it's really interesting. 27 million plus additional viewers, they believe they've gained as a result of the Swift movement all over the NFL.
Big deal.
Yeah, it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach, man.
Why, man? Why?
Because you know, just I don't,
listen, this is a great story. It's a great story. I love seeing it. They might truly be in love. They might truly be
Man,
in love.
you pay anybody that much money, they'd be in love too.
I'm just saying they might. We don't even know if they're getting. You say it's a money grab, and I said right, like there was a bunch of business that was going to come out of this. I kind of saw that side coming. But is it really going in the pockets of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Like, do you think it's going in their pockets?
I mean, maybe not the ones in terms of the NFL, but certainly uh, he gets a cut of all the jerseys sold, for one, right? Taylor Swift's publicity coming up. I mean, I'm guessing more people have listened to a song or two since then, right? Who knows? You probably lock her in for a couple concerts here and there. I'm not sure if they sat down at a coffee table and looked each other in the eyes and say, "Hey, you're decent enough. We can make a lot of money together. Let's do it." I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not sure. I
I don't
wasn't
think so.
there.
I know, but I don't think it was like that. I definitely don't think that was it. And I don't know that necessarily they are profiting off of this, but the NFL for sure is.
What do you
Tail-
mean they're not? Of course they're
I
profiting.
again, like so again, the things that you mentioned, sure, right?
Yep.
Ticket sales, streams for Taylor Swift, got it. Booking some extra concerts, got it, right? Like that's some money coming in. Travis Kelce jersey sales, got it. But those are kind of like ancillary things that happen that just happen. I don't know that they're getting these, right? They're not getting the bulk of the ticket sales, the up in prices of ticket sales. They're not getting anything extra. The Chiefs aren't getting anything extra from the NFL. Maybe they are, maybe they're
How do you
not.
know?
You're right. I don't know. As I said it,
Ah,
but I don't think that's going into the pocket of Travis Kelce. This is just my opinion, right? I just don't think that that's happening. And actually, I think this has some societal good thing, like some real benefits to society. This is a
oh,
thought. This is a thought that popped into my mind.
okay.
Take the 13-year-old daughter, the 13-year-old girl that's a Swiftie, the 17-year-old girl that's a Swiftie, right? And now she's bonding with dad. Dad's watching the NFL on Sundays. Dad's the one in fantasy football. And maybe that 13-year-old girl, now she understands a little bit more about football and she wants to watch it with dad. So they're going to come together now because these two worlds are coming together. And despite the money that's happening, maybe this brings some families together. Maybe this brings some relationships together. I know that they're saying that more girls are now wearing Travis Kelce jerseys and showing up to NFL games. So maybe this is bringing some bonding together for relationships. Maybe, just maybe, this union is bringing people together on a different level that other people couldn't imagine. Maybe. Something to think about. Something to think about.
I'll sleep on it.
Please do. As we go into our next segment for today, which is our 2x2.
2x2.
This is the segment where we give our tips and advice to entrepreneurs and business owners. Today, the question that we're posing is, how do you define your avatar? How do you define your avatar? So for those of you that are listening, I'll give a little context. An avatar in the marketing world is your ideal consumer, right? The embodiment of your consumer, so to speak. So can you put all of the age, region, marital status, financial status, can you put all of the criteria of your ideal client, your ideal customer, can you put them into an avatar, into some form of this is who I'm looking for? Businesses struggle with this. People that start businesses struggle with this. So let's talk about it for a little bit. How do you define your avatar? How would you go about that? Could be define your avatar.
Actually, what I've created is a sheet of how I went through it, and has a number of questions on it. That you take your time, you really answer those questions, and you're eventually going to come up with the avatar. So, for example, what is the biggest result that I can help a business or an individual achieve? Right. We talked about working from a place of your transformation last time. And this time, this is this is where it shows up. Well, if you've had a transformation, whether it's in your finance, whether it's in your health, you most likely can help somebody else do it. Or maybe you have some expertise with it in terms of some further education or some further experience, right? But we know experience usually trumps all. Or something like describe the favorite client your favorite client that you've ever worked with. Like, what were the characteristics of that individual, as Chris was saying? And then maybe what is the biggest problem your most ideal person is dealing with? So you can come at it from multiple perspectives. Maybe you have the problem figured out. Maybe you have the type of people it's going to help figure it out. Maybe what frustrates your favorite client that you've ever worked with. What really taps into their innate feelings, what excites them, what causes them shame, what causes them issues of that nature. So when you go through this sheet, you answer these questions. I think there's about maybe 20 or so or less, maybe 15 to 20. You eventually will come up with at least a very solid 1-page description. Copy of that, go ahead and message us in the group, and we'll go ahead and we'll send that your way.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we just drop that in the group, in the Facebook group, right? And
Yeah, but I hate dropping things on people they're not expecting. So let us know if you want it. If you want it, like if you want it, just say yes. Give me the avatar sheet, and we'll drop it.
Gotta ask. Though closed mouths don't get fed, right? You gotta
not on the
ask.
boulevard.
That's not on the. That was wild. That was a wild statement. But yes, make sure you ask for it. We'll get it to you. It's going to be in the group. That's where you got to get it. So if you're not in the group, make sure you dive in there. My 2 cents on the avatar. I think that sheet is going to help a ton of people. I wish I would have had that sheet as I was developing the business and kind of putting things in place for the avatar. I'll speak from the I on this one because I've gone through the process of identifying like who is our avatar. And for us, maybe there's some other business owners that feel this way. We have a lot of avatars, right? We have a lot of ideal people that we could help. There's probably 2 or 3 main ones, but in general, the segmentation and being able to know that you talking to, depending on what your product is, depending on what your service is, a 25-year-old male that's single that lives in Topeka, Kansas, is going to be a different communication style, different marketing than a 44-year-old married woman that lives in LA. Right. And so understanding that, yes, your product or service may be able to serve both of those people. Maybe you don't know who specifically you'd like to serve. So in that instance, you have to start thinking about, well, how do I communicate to them? What are their pain points? What is it that they really are struggling with? Or what are the areas that I could really come in and give or utilize my product or service to be able to help them achieve that desired result or whatever they're looking for. So in this marketing space, learning how to communicate to all of your different avatars or all of your different ideal customers is really one of the keys. And it's a beautiful thing being on social media, because now you can segment those out and you can run paid advertisement. You can run paid ads to target specifically who you want to talk to. Back in the day, again, because this marketing conversation, this avatar conversation is a marketing conversation. Back in the day, people would just make one ad and put it out. And it was hopefully to reach everybody in their target demographic and some of the other people. But now we have the ability to really niche down and say, okay, if I know I'm talking to this specific type of person, I know what that message should be. If you're talking to the 60 plus, you might not be talking about Taylor Swift, right? Like, because they might not understand that side. But if you're talking to someone else that's in their 30s or in their 20s, they may. But again, this is the job of the business owner to really hone in and say, who am I talking to? And if there are multiple people that you can talk to that can benefit from your product or service, then how do I talk to each individual one, mentioning their specific pain points and helping them, again, achieve that desired outcome? So marketing's a big deal. This avatar is a big deal. If you haven't figured it out for your business, again, jump in the group, ask for the avatar worksheet, and we'll make sure we get it to you guys. All right.
That's right.
Cool beans. As we continue to move on through the show, we get into this segment. There's a lot of noise in the world and somebody's got to call it out. Lucky for us, Coach hates the noise. So, Coach, tell us why you're mad.
Oh, man. Hey. Y'all listen up, man. Please spare me any more Taylor Swift news. I am so tired of this. Okay, she made a couple albums. All right. Okay, she's tall, slender, white, and blonde. I get it. She fits the American story. I get it. Okay. But goodness gracious, if we can look at one of the most powerful sports leagues in the world, the NFL, making all this money, and they got to stoop so low, so disgustingly low, golly, to get in bed. Let me switch my words up. To align in this fake relationship. We're in families watching. This family's watching. But this is crazy, man. All right, fine. It's a feel-good story, etc. But is this really going to dominate the headlines? For how many weeks? She going to go every game? Oh, man. I'm done. I can't. I'm done. I can't. I don't even have energy for anything else. I'm so done.
Listen, I feel your anger and I know why you're mad. But it's not going anywhere, just so you know. Yes, she's going to be around for a long time, probably into the playoffs.
Every game?
It's quite possible. Unless she's going on tour sometime soon. Like, it's quite possible for the next 14 weeks of the NFL. she's going to be there. She's going to be there. So I understand why you're mad, but you're going to be mad for a long time, my guy. Well, good stuff. Anyways, on to our next sponsor. Our next sponsor. Hey, are you a busy professional looking to level up your health and performance? Look no further than our sponsor, Cut the Noise. They offer personalized nutrition, tailored movement programs, and stress management techniques to help you look, feel, and perform at your best. And here's the best part. You can join their end of the year wellness challenge, access to their app, and become a part of their community just for $1. That's right. But the price is going to go up. So you got to make sure you're getting in there. $1. Don't miss out. Comment CTN90 and we will get you set up for success for this new year. Again, comment CTN90 and we will get you set up for success. Price is going up. Yesterday's price, not today's price, not yesterday's price. Got to make sure you do it. Into the show. Hey, today, wanted to bring you a little bit more of this business conversation. You guys know that Kabir and I, even though we're in the health and wealth spaces respectively, business is an important topic. We're both running businesses. We're both in the entrepreneurial journey. So having conversations around business, having conversations around our journey and what some of you may be going through in your journey is important to us. So that's why we want to have more of these conversations. Today, we want to talk about the topic, how to turn your skills into profit as a side hustle, right? How to turn your skills into profit. So we know there's a lot of you out there, and Coach, I'll have you also give context to this of what you're seeing out there. But there's a lot of you out there that you may have some skill sets. You may have been doing a job or working at a place for a good amount of time, 5+ years, you know that you have a skill set, but you're itching to do something different. You're itching to make more money or get out there and make a different impact in the world, but you don't really know how to turn what you already have into an actual business, into a side hustle, into something that brings you money. So that's what the conversation is for. What are you seeing out there, Coach? Like, what have you been around talking to people about this area of turning their skills into a side hustle?
Yeah. Well, what I'm seeing here is I think a lot of people are getting increasingly uncomfortable with the economic situation.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, we're not going to go too deep into the economic situation, but if you live in America, even if you don't, but specifically Americans and you eat food, put gas in your car, and have friends, you've probably noticed a couple of things. All right. Gas prices are going crazy, particularly out here in the West. And we're seeing a lot of people laid off. I actually had a friend of mine give me a call today.
Mm.
And it's very, very unfortunate we're seeing this. So I think a lot of people are starting to think either, how do I turn what I know? I've been doing this job for 5 to 10 years, right? I'm in finance, I'm in tech, I'm in, something else where I've been doing this job. Like, I know how to do it. How do I either go higher within the scope of the job, but mostly how do I leverage the skills that I already have, or other skills and interests that I already have? And I think a lot of people are thinking about, either investing in themselves and potentially going, the more traditional kind of route. But a lot of people are also talking about, hey, especially when they see what I do, hey man, how do you do it? Like, how do you make money online? Right? As either a complement to the income that you're already making in a stable job, which quite honestly, I believe a lot of people are better off in that position, or you want to take it to the next level and you want to fully step out and have this be something that you turn into a career, not just a side gig that you're doing, right? So yeah, that's what we're going to dive into today, man. I think a lot of people are there, and I'm going to focus more specifically on the online piece, on the making money online piece. And I'll hand this over to you, brother, but like, want to be clear, we're not talking about like gimmicks, right? Not just like making any money online. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nigerian 411 is alive, man. It's alive and well. But we're talking about, you have a skill, whether you develop that skill within a corporation or something you've been working on for a long time, like myself. Now, how do you leverage that? And there are multiple ways to leverage that online to earn additional income. So that's what we want to really break down.
That's good. And I think, again, just that avatar, so to speak, right, that you just put together, right? That person that's sitting at that job for 5 to 10 years, that has seen the economic landscape change a bit, feels a little bit more uncomfortable now, knows they have some skills, but just don't know how to do it. Like you said, online. How do I now transition this? That's the person that we're talking to, because we know that there's a lot of you out there. And let's just start with the first step. The first step is, we have to identify the skills. First you have to identify, what are your skills. I've talked about this before. I do a morning mindset call, and we talk about a lot of different mindset type things, mental toughness, those types of things. But in there, I talked about this Japanese proverb called ikigai, or ikigi. I don't know how to exactly say it. I think it's ikigai, right? But basically it says, it's a Japanese proverb of how you find your purpose, right? How you find your purpose. And there's 4 concentric circles that the headings of those 4 circles are, if you can think about, 1, what you're good at, aka your skills, right? Like, what are you good at? You can think about, what do you like doing? If you can think about what makes money, and then you can think about what the world needs, right? Where's there a need? So those 4 things right there. What are you good at? What do you like doing? What makes money? and then what does the world need? Take those 4 things, take some time, write those things down. The intersection of all those things that's how you find your purpose, right? That's what this Japanese proverb says. But that first step of just listing out, like, what am I good at? Like, actually, I know I've been working at this job for 5 years. I know I've been doing this thing for 7 years, 8 years. I might not like it all, but what actually am I good at? What's my skill set? Is it a technical skill set? Is it something around people? Is it something that is in your communication? Like, really identifying what your skill is, I think, is the first step. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that was 100% on the money. That is a phrasing that I use quite often. I did not know it was a Japanese proverb. I just heard it from a mentor of mine. So thanks for breaking that down. I think that could not be a better place to start that conversation, or this conversation, in looking and doing that. So I would pause this. If you're watching along from, I would pause this. If you're listening to the podcast version, I would pause this and write that out. And actually, even if you don't do it now, at least set it out so you can, do it at another time. Because from there, everything else begins. All right. Yeah, but
How did you identify your skills? Like, did you know it coming in already? Did somebody have to tip you off to it? Like, how did you think about it from your personal standpoint?
yeah, from my personal standpoint, I was looking at, what do I enjoy doing probably, and what am I good at? Like, what do people come to me for? And most people in my life come to me for some form of coaching. They come to me for some, health coaching, life coaching, like, even things that I don't do in an official capacity. Find a lot of people in my life, that's how they relate to me. And I enjoy it. I enjoy being able to make an impact, being able to solve a problem that had a positive impact on someone else. And I think that's probably where it started. I also enjoyed things around improving, not necessarily even just health, but more so I like going from A to B. I like seeing improvement. And that, to me, was, has played out in multiple different areas. And I enjoy the process of getting better at business. I enjoy the process of improving my health. I enjoy the process of learning different skill sets, right? So that's another thing I identify. I was good at learning things quickly. Figuring out puzzles, right? I was very good at that. And so I kind of looked at all those different things, and I don't know if necessarily I pinpointed all of those, but I think over time, right, as I was developing, I realized, hey, this is a particular piece of what has to be done that I can hold on to, or I can ask for help or let go of as we move along. So
That's good.
and then also looked at what if people paid me for it, right? What if people paid me for it, and what could I charge from that perspective? Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
No, yeah, that's good. For me, it was a little different, because I took the jump into financial services before identifying my skill set. I really had a need or a want to get out of my current career, to really be able to be more entrepreneurial, really make more money, have more time, right? Like, I wanted some other things. So I wasn't as deliberate about kind of what industry I went into and kind of what's my skill. It's not how it worked for me. But some of you guys know this. I came from restaurants. That's my background. I have an associate's in culinary arts, bachelor's food service management, right? Like, I went to school for the culinary side of things. Very quickly into that, I realized I was kind of personable and I liked talking to people. So I jumped kind of front of the house and did the server, bartender, manager type thing. And then after doing that for a bit of time, I kind of got sucked into financial services. I got introduced to it. I was already looking for something, but like I said, I wasn't thinking that it was my skill set necessarily. But a guy that I had talked to that kind of, he was a broker in the industry, started having a conversation with me. He basically said, like, hey, this is another people business. And that resonated with me, because I was like, okay, well, I deal with people being the manager of this restaurant. So obviously I know how to deal with people. I'm fine with people. I would call myself like the go-to manager in the restaurant. Staff would always seek me out. Guests would always seek me out. I had that reputation. So when I jumped into financial services, I didn't know anything about the industry. I really didn't understand. I didn't have a personal transformation story before that time, right? I was really learning it, and as I got in, but as I was in the industry and then started some of these habit changes and those things, I then identified what my skill was, and my skill was with people. And then I looked back and was like, oh yeah, I've been dealing with people for like 10 years now. Like I've been good to people, around people, play team sports, real likable. Like then it made sense, but I was already 2-3 years into financial services where I then identified what my actual skill set was. From that point though, I just got better with it. I honed in on it. You know, I'm one of those people that believe this. This will help some of you out there that might be conflicted with this. Like if you just lean in on your strengths, then that's going to treat you way better than trying to shore up all your weaknesses and try to get better in all the areas you're not good at. If you actually just identify like this is something I'm really good at, and you pour more energy into that side where you can be the best in that area, I believe that serves you better than if you just tried to say, well, I'm not too good in this area. Well, let me work on that and let me work on this, right? There's some things obviously we need to be proficient in, but in general, as a business owner, you just got to know, like, you don't have to be proficient in everything. You hire for the things that you're not good at. But if you can identify exactly what you are good at and just go that direction, you're going to be better at that than other people. And that's what's going to drive your business, or it's going to drive what you're doing. So I found out relatively quickly, 2 years in or so, that like I was just good with people, and that I had a skill set of communication and communicating with people. And then I just leaned into that 100% of the way and continued to get better with it. So I realized that was my actual skill set, was the communication and the people aspect of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. As in a way, it almost has to be both,
Mm,
right? Because how do you know you're good at it? You
that's right.
tried it,
That's right.
right? How do you know you like it? Because you tried it, right? So it's I think it's a little bit of reflection in terms of looking back periodically and saying, well, what has been true, right? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, man, and that's pretty cool way to go about it. And it's also in a way should be encouragement to somebody who has analysis paralysis. Like you really just need to try things
So
to
true.
kind of figure some of this stuff out. Because I didn't, this wasn't my first business that I tried to get into. I've tried to get into a lot of businesses, right? So I figured out something from each one of those. And any of them could have worked,
Yeah.
but not all of them worked for me. So that's the reflection piece of it, right? So I have a friend, a lot of people, let me use this example. A lot of people don't understand multi-level marketing. They hear it, they think there's a scam. They hear it, they think it's like, shady, et cetera. And to their point, there's a lot of stories to back that up in the sense of like things not going very well. But I had a buddy of mine who lived in the same neighborhood as I did, played basketball with him, much better than I. He thought it was going to get, everybody thought he was going to get a scholarship. Didn't end up getting a scholarship. And I saw him a couple of years later and he was doing very well. And I asked him what was going on. He said, oh, I got into this business, et cetera. So I looked a little bit deeper and it was a business that I had taken part of, all right, a couple years back, and I had left for a lot of reasons that I had. He had taken the business and absolutely blown it up to like a 1,000-person organization or something, and was doing extremely well. I retired his mom, retired his wife, etc. Exact same thing, right? But I had my walls goes up and things happen, and he just leaned in and went for it, right? Now there are a lot of reasons anywhere on that. I'll call it a Venn diagram, but anywhere on that, Japanese proverb Venn diagram situation that you talked about, we could have been different. There could have been something else, but I bet you anything too, there was also just like a little bit more resilience,
Mhm.
right? Just he just kept going a little bit longer, right? Enough to experience success, to realize that, oh, I'm very good at this part of it, and lean into that part of the business, right? So I think it's always very interesting when I find myself kind of looking and making up or finding reasons for how things didn't go,
Mhm.
and then look at somebody else in the same exact situation succeed. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's part of what we're talking about. Figure out where you are going to have things line up for you to lean into your strengths.
So
Exactly as
true.
you said.
That's so good, man. That's so good. And I think it leans into or kind of leads us into the second part, or like the next part. So after you identify that skill set, or, what it is that you believe you want to lean into, then how do you find the right place to put that skill set? How do you find the right industry? Again, my story, I was able to step into financial services and then realize that the skill set was around people and communicating and those things. But what if you are the other side and you're like, hey, I'm figuring out my skill set and I know I'm good at these three things? Then how do we then find what industry to put that in? What's your thoughts on that? Like, how do we find the industry?
I think you keep it really simple and talk to a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? Keep it really simple. Hop on LinkedIn, find people who are doing what that is, and ask them for a five minute interview. Most people will say yes. Um, or they will say, I'm too busy.
Or they won't answer at all.
At all, right?
Yeah.
But find different ways to talk to a lot of people about it, because that's really the only way, besides you doing it yourself, right? Is grabbing information from somebody else. Now, whether they tell it to you, they write it to you, they sing it to you, whatever it is, you're still getting information from somebody else who's been there, because you haven't been there yourself. So I would say that's probably it. And it doesn't, to your point, it doesn't necessarily have to come second, right? It could be that you find the industry and then you develop the skills,
Yeah.
right? So it's no particular order to the operation here.
That's very true. And I think it goes to your point that you said, like, you just got to taste a bunch of stuff. You have to try a bunch of stuff. That's one of the easiest ways. If you don't know the skill set and you just want to try a bunch of things, you should. You should. I remember, I think it might have been Gary Vee that gave this advice, but I heard it and I stuck to it because it makes a lot of sense. From 18 to 25, typically in our life, in our society, we're taught to be like stable. Like, go get the stable job, go get the secure thing, right? As soon as you're out of school, you're out of college, like land the thing that secures you, get a house, like do all these things that make you secure and stable, or right, stable to that degree. But actually, I think it's the opposite. I think that 18 to 25, you should be the most exploratory. Like, you should be the most unstable. You're the freest that you'll ever be. You have like the least amount of debt and the least attachments to people and all this things. So like 18 to 25 might be the time you go taste. What is it like to live on the West Coast? What's it like to live in the Midwest? What's it like to live out of the country? What's it like to do a work from home job? What's it like to work in a restaurant? What's it like to start a business? What's it like to do an MLM? Like, I think the 18 to 25 is what actually gives you the basis to figure out your skill set and figure out the industry if you taste enough things. But we keep people in this like narrow, try to get a job in whatever you go to school for type of deal, right? And that limits what they're trying, what they're able to do, what they're testing. And therefore you come out of school not even knowing your skill set. You come out and you've only had 2 jobs, you've only had 3 jobs, like you have no idea what actually is out there for you. So again, to your point, I think it's a matter of tasting and testing and trying new things and not staying anywhere too long if you know that that's not for you. If there's no sparkle in your eye during the day, right? Like where you're like, oh, this could be something, or like, oh, I feel myself getting better, or oh, I like this part of it. By the way, if people that get a job, this is just sidebar, it just came to my head. Like, it's not a good enough reason to stick around just because you like people at your job. Because I hear that a lot from people. It's like, oh, what do you like about your job? Well, I love the people. Okay. Like, what else is it? So that's not enough to keep you at a job. You might like the people, you might like your coworkers, that's great. But are you building a skill set? Do you think this is the industry that you like? You enjoy what the industry does? I think you really have to get a little bit more I don't know, nuanced about kind of what you actually do like in that job, and not just the people. But taste and test everything, guys. That's really the message.
It's interesting. I'm curious what your answer is, but how do you balance that exploration with developing skill? Because developing skill takes time.
For sure. Man, I think that is again, that twinkle in the eye, right? It's like once you realize this could be something, I think it's human nature to know when you feel like you are good at something or can be good at something, right? I feel like innately we know that. If you pick up a sport, I picked up golf kind of recently, like I know I can get better at that. Like I feel it. Like I know I'm not great right now, but I know I can get better. I know that's something I can grow in. I enjoy it and I know I can get better. I think there's something to that. If you go into a workplace and like you're like, ooh, like this feels like something. Like I get my work done fast. It's relatively easy for me. Um, I'm not overly stressed out. I'm not overly confused. I'm not just kind of like fudging my way and BSing my way through the day. Like there's going to be some clues there for you. If there's no clues, I think that's when we bounce and when we just, all right, I've spent 6 months here and I got nothing. I've spent 4 months here and I got nothing. Like, I don't like this at all. I don't feel like this is helping. My brain's not moving. All right, I need to go try something different. I need to go bounce somewhere else. But I think there's probably some time, right? You probably, more than 3 months, 3, 4, 5 months, probably a good amount of time for you to just identify those things. But I think it's innate in us. I wouldn't know how to necessarily pinpoint it.
I think it is difficult to pinpoint because I certainly know people who are struggling with that process of like, is this a boredom thing? Is this like you said, not feeling like I can grow here, right? Sometimes it's a little difficult to figure out what it is that you're feeling in that sense. And I think it might be a time to do some interviews, talk to some people, right? So talk to your coworkers and ask them, what do you think I'm good at? Right? What do you think I could get better at? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So I think it comes down again to grabbing information, talking to people and doing some interviews. And yeah, that's what I'm getting
Solid.
continuously.
That's solid. That's solid. I think the last point, we'll take it home on this one. I think the last point to understanding how to turn these skills into something profitable for you, into some type of side hustle, is also understanding and just going in with the mindset of knowing that this is going to take work, that there's going to be some forms of sacrifice, that even if you do identify the skill and you identify the industry, it's not just going to all be easy, especially if you're trying to transition and you already have a job and you're trying to, now you already have limited time. So now it's really going to be, are you in the right frame of mind to say, I'm willing to put in this extra work to develop more of my skill set, get in a new industry, most likely, right? Getting a new learning curve, right? Like all of those things. I think you have to be in the right frame of mind to do it. Cause I'm sure there's somebody listening that you know what you're good at. You already have identified it. And you probably have a list of 2 or 3 different industries that you would like to go into. And you think it would, do well with your skill set. But now that last piece is coming in, like, do I really want to? Right? My life is kind of all right where it's at. And it's adding this on, even though I'm itching a bit to do something different, the unknown, changing, saying, okay, this was my routine. Now what's my routine going to be? Giving up some of those nights, giving up some of those weekends now to develop that skill set. Are we in the right mindset? Are you in the right mindset? And I think that's kind of the last piece. It could even be the first piece to the whole thing is, are you in the right mindset to go off and do it? But I think the mindset piece is important also.
I would agree. I would agree. And we got to measure our cognitive load. And and the circumstances that are forcing or encouraging us to change. If those forces aren't in the right ratio, most likely action will not be taken, you know? So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Get those habits in place, and so that get ready so you don't have to be ready. Work on those habits when times are good. Work on those habits when you don't want to leave your job and you actually feel pretty good there. Well, work on those habits then. So when the time comes, that's just who you are.
Yeah. Most people don't have that though. When the times are good, most people aren't preparing for bad times or different times, right? Like they're not. They're in their rhythm. They're in their rhythm. They're just in their zone. But yeah, you gotta make sure you're constantly preparing.
That's unfortunately the downfall of man. All right. Because what's the best time to do things to stay healthy? When you're healthy.
Right.
Right. But prevention is the best. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. But to your point.
No, for sure. I mean, that's why I appreciate you. And I appreciate, like, again, the health side of things and understanding that, hey, wow, like when we got together, we started talking and right, going down that path. I wasn't necessarily didn't feel unhealthy necessarily. I wasn't feeling sick or right, didn't have a major health scare or something along those lines. I just wanted to make sure I would be good. I wanted to prevent some of these things. I wanted to make sure that like I'd live a long life. So that is the best time. It's the best time. When's the best time to think about starting a business? When you're making the income you thought you wanted to make, right? When you have the job, when you have the position that you wanted to have, if you have a dream position, whenever you get that, hey, now's the time to start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to protect this? What do I need to do to pivot? How do I bring in this other stream of income? Because oftentimes the other side, not that it's a time where it's too late, but like sometimes if you already get fired, you're so frantic that like you don't have the mental capacity, you don't have the resources, you're not in the right frame of mind to go start that business now. Now you really need to get another job so that you can go back and now start to work on your actual dreams. So just got to make sure that we are getting ready. And that's really my that's going to be my last take for today.
Last take. What's your last take, sir?
That's it. My last take is you got to prepare yourself for these shifts, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to turn your skill sets and the things that you already know you're good at into some form of profit, some form of business, like you have to prepare yourself to do that. And you're preparing yourself from a mental standpoint, emotional standpoint, health, physically, right? Like financially, preparing yourself to be able to make the changes that you want to make really are the key. We talked about identifying the skills and identifying what industry, but I think it's really like the meat of it is being prepared in all these areas, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, in your finances, to be able to say, okay, I'm ready to go off and make my dreams a reality, go off and like design the life that I want. I really think you have to prepare for that stuff. So that's my last take on it.
Great last take. You absolutely have to prepare. And I believe also staying in the right community of individuals so that you don't carry the burden all on your shoulders, or, sometimes you forget some things and a brother will make sure that you're not falling for too long, right? So creating a community, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we're doing in the Facebook group, and really encourage you to join the community as we ramp things up. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Already is. We show up there exclusively on Fridays to give you more value, and then let us know, like, if you like this type of episode, this type of topic, let us know. We'll dive into it a bit more. But my last take here is that community is a huge piece of this. So join our community if you have a contribution that you can and are willing to make. With that, thank you for your time this time. And until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Good Life.
If you enjoy this episode, please take a moment to subscribe and like our channel.
If you have any feedback or suggestions for future episodes, please leave us a comment down below.
If you're listening to the podcast audio version, we appreciate you just as much. Thank you for tuning into the Good Life Show.
We believe that everyone has the potential to live their best life, and we hope our show helps you get that one step closer to achieving your goal.
If you know someone who would benefit from from our show, please share it with them. And thank you for your continued support.
That's it for another week's episode here on The Good Life. We'll see you next week for another inspiring conversation.
Welcome to the good life.